Hello, my name is Shadira. I'm getting on here to give y'all an update and be obedient to God from my last testimony video that I posted. Um, so the last time I spoke to y'all, I was in a shelter and I was going to an interview for police. I was going to an interview for police, and I was running late because I was in a shelter, and they didn't let me leave the shelter until after 7 o'clock, and I had to be there by 8. So I was running late, and I had lost my aunt in that week, but I still decided to show up because I wanted to show that I was obedient. I wanted to show that to God. I wanted to show that I was obedient to God, and I also wanted to show that I was capable and that I was determined for the job. So in the midst of me showing up, I let them know everything that had transpired with me losing my aunt, with me being in the shelter, and with me running late and everything. And they had turned me away. And in the midst of them turning me away, God was speaking to me, and he basically was saying to me, like, if they turn you away, not that they had to accept me, but if they turn you away, this is for protection and not rejection, because I have something bigger and better for you along your path. So fast forward, that happened. So a couple months go by, I'm still in the shelter. My sister goes to prom, and I asked my case manager for a pass to, go stay at my mom's so I can go to my sister's prom. And in the midst of me staying, my case manager didn't confirm yes or no that I can stay overnight. So I just took it upon myself to just do it, just stay overnight. And then I just wrote her and let her know. So when I went to the shelter, they basically had told me that I had to leave. I had to come get my stuff. And I came and got my stuff. And I wind up, when I left, before I went to the shelter, like on January the 5th, God had told me to go to the shelter. He told me to leave everything behind that I had with me before I went and just go. That was an assignment for me to do, and I was just being obedient to that. And then when I got discharged out of the shelter, because I was there past 6 months, I was done. When I got discharged out of the shelter, I didn't get housing or anything. So I wound up back where I just left, which is my ex-house, which is a female. I was dealing with a female. I was at my ex-house. And God was doing something in the midst of him telling me to leave my ex-house within my journey and my walk with him. So that's why he told me to leave. So I wound up back there. In the midst of me winding back up at my ex-house, I started to go through all the spiritual warfare. I just started to feel like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm back where I started from. I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I'm really not supposed to be here. I'm out of God's will. Like, it was just like so much going through my mind. So then it was like I was going through so much there spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. I started to go back into like a depression. I started to just lay around again. But when I was in the shelter, I was basically motivated. I was more driven and moving around, and God was just moving. I was sharing my testimony there, and I was just basically just being obedient to God. So when I moved out of the shelter and I went back to my ex-house, I automatically felt like I was basically back in sin and basically back in just what God had removed me from, what God told me to leave from. I felt like I was operating on my own will in that moment, and that I wasn't being used. I wasn't being led by God. So fast forward From there, I calls my cousin to come and get me, my cousin Riri, and I wound up at my cousin's house. In the midst of me winding up at my cousin's house, I'm going through spiritual warfare there too. So I went there to help her, and she was helping me because I didn't have nowhere to go. So she was helping me. She was making sure that I had food, and she gave me a room and made sure I had a nice room, and it was prepared for me really nice. And I had a nice little bed and everything. She really made sure that I was comfortable. In the midst of me being there, I was praying to God for me to get a job. And I was praying, and I was applying to jobs and just different stuff. And I had got a job. I had got an interview for a job. And in the midst of me getting an interview for a job, my cousin was just basically asking me like to help her with rent and all of that stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll help you as soon as I know what my checks and stuff is going to look like once I'm done. Once I get my first check, I'll let you know what I can help you with. So in the midst of that, she automatically gets upset because I can't really tell her like, how much I'm going to pay her, because I really don't know, because I'm just, starting a job. So I don't know what my checks is going to look like because I haven't even started work yet. So in the midst of that, she sends me a text message. Something happened within my family where she sends me a text message, and she was basically like, I had went to my best friend's house because I felt like it was kind of confrontation with my cousin and me at her house. So I had went to my best friend's house at the time. And, I was staying there. I stayed the night there just for a day, just to get some air. And she was like, basically sent me a text like, if you not coming back, or if you staying out, I might as well give the room that you staying in to my nieces so they can have somewhere to stay. So I sit there. I know that this is another spiritual attack, because I sit there and I'm just like, okay, what? Like, I'm coming back. In my mind, I'm thinking like, what? Why she say that? I'm coming back tomorrow. So in the midst of all of that, I'm praying behind closed doors for God to just move on my behalf, to, move me into a place and to help me to, be where he want me to be at, and to direct my path, and wherever he want me to be, to move me there or whatever. That's what I'm praying for. I was praying for that. So she sent me that text message, and I had text back. I didn't argue with her or anything. I simply text back, and I said, I'll let you know tomorrow what I'm going to do. And then she texted back and she said, oh, I wasn't saying that you had to leave. I'm just basically saying like, I was basically just saying that for the night, like I was going to let them stay for the night. The Lord had already brought to my spirit that she was basically saying that for good, like she's going to give them the room for good. So I immediately next day, get dropped off by my best friend, gets my stuff, packs my stuff. I'm crying, I'm hysterical, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just believing in God now at this point. I'm like, God, listen. At this point, Lord, take the wheel, Lord. Jesus, take the wheel. Like, do what you're gonna do, Lord, because you made a way for me when I went to the shelter. I didn't have no money. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. And you provided for me. You provided my clothes. You provided my tissue. You provided my pads. You provided everything that I needed within me being in that shelter. So if I got to leave my cousin's house today, I know that you will provide for me if I got to leave here. Not if, but because I got to leave here. And so I went there. I packed my stuff. So we have a conversation before I leave. She's basically like, I feel some type of way about you leaving. It's cool. Like basically like it's kind of like a manipulation type thing. Like as if I'm just leaving her high and dry. But she asked me to leave. So now I'm just being obedient to God, because at this moment now I'm just seeing like, all right, this is God moving. And it's just the way he's moving in my life that, it look weird, but I know that this is God moving for me. So she like, I just think it's weird that you leaving us, me high and dry. I just lost my mom, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, cuz like, I've been here helping you. I've been trying to be here for you, trying to support you with you said you helping me. You know, I'm grateful for your help. I'm even, you know, like, I'm giving you what I can while I'm here. Like, you know, I'm just trying to heal myself, and you know, I don't want to seem like I'm in the way of which this is your house. I'm not going to come here and, you know, disrespect or, you know, do anything that's going to make you feel like, you know, you got to walk on eggshells in your own house. So I was just like, okay, well, you asked me to leave, so I'm willing to leave. Like, I'm not going to beg you to stay here. I came here for you. Because when I left my ex house, I called my cousin. But I asked my cousin to take me back to the shelter, or take me to a shelter. And she said, I'm not taking you to a shelter. I got a whole nother room upstairs. I'm just gonna let you stay there. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, because everywhere I went throughout my time and throughout my path, I always got put out. I didn't do anything. I would just get put out, or they would make me leave, or it would be something that's going on where I had to leave. So I was just, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going back to nobody's house. I'm not staying with nobody. I'm going to go to the shelter. Like, I'm going to rock it out. I know how it feels to be in the shelter. I've been in the shelter twice. Like, it's cool. She was, on the other hand, like, listen, you my cousin. I got an extra room that ain't nobody using. I'm going to let you stay here. So I went because I felt like, and she was like, plus I need somebody around me right now because I just lost my mom, and that's the only person that I have. And you the only other person besides my mom that I have right now. So I'm like, okay. I goes there because she asked me to, because I originally asked her to go to the shelter. So goes there, all hell breaks loose. Like, all hell breaks loose. She breaks her arm. I'm helping her take care of her wrist. I wound up drinking and stuff. I don't drink no more. I stopped drinking before I came there. I was drinking. I was going to clubs. What else was I doing? I was just doing stuff that I knew that it was outside of God's will for where he was taking me, and that I had stopped doing. It was like I immediately got back into sin. Like, I immediately went back into sin. Like, because of like everything that I was around, and just like, I was just basically just the spiritual attack. And even also just, I'm going to be upfront with you. I felt like I had to do those things to just, because didn't nobody understand the walk that I was walking, and they didn't understand that the journey that I'm on now. I'm no longer smoking, I'm no longer drinking, I'm no longer doing this, I'm no longer doing that. And people was looking at me, side-eyeing me like, you don't drink no more, you don't smoke no more, or like just stuff like, and I just felt like I had to, like, with validation, I had to like please them and do what they wanted me to do in order for them to make them feel comfortable. In my own mind, I'm like, God know what I'm doing. God is leading me on the right path, and I'm falling back into the stuff that I know that I just got delivered from, or that I'm constantly being delivered from, and I feel good about it, and I get here and I fall back. I fall back into the stuff that I know that I don't want to do. Because even when I was doing those things, I felt like I was doing it because I was trying to please everybody around me, when it didn't really do nothing for me. Like, it didn't do nothing. Me drinking, me smoking, me doing all of that stuff, turning up, all that, it never really did anything for me, ever, in my entire life. I felt like I always did it because I just felt like the people around me was doing it, and I felt like if I wasn't drinking or something, they'd look at me like I'm weird, like, oh, so you just gonna watch us drink, or you're not gonna drink, or you're not gonna turn up, or you're not going, like. So I just used to just do it, like. So that had happened with me leaving her house. So then I wound up, this lady at my church, I'm not gonna say no names, this lady at my church, who said that I was walking down and I was about to get prayed over at church, and she stopped me and she started praying for me. And when she prayed for me, I just started crying, because the stuff that she prayed for me was stuff that I was praying for behind closed doors. So I had felt a sense of heaviness when she prayed for me. So I called her, right? And I let her know, like, hey, you know, my cousin making me leave. I don't have nowhere to go. I don't know what to do. So she puts me in one of her houses, right? And in the house, it's a big house. It's nobody there. It's just me. It's just me in this house. She puts me in her house. Don't know me from a can of paint. Let me stay there. Rent free. I didn't have to pay no rent. I didn't have to pay no bills or none of that. No rent, no bills. And I just basically was staying there to get myself together. In the midst of me staying there, you know, I was helping her, you know. I was giving her, you know, looking out. Only thing that I had was my food stamps. I was, you know, trying to help with that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use what I got. I'm never going to stay somewhere and not add or contribute anything. I'm going to offer, and I offered. And she's like, no, I just want you to get yourself together. So I got a whole 3-bedroom house to myself, basement, kitchen, backyard, all to myself for just a few months. So I'm staying there with her. Well, she don't stay there. She, you know, it was just another house that she had, and she let me stay. She's like, I'm gonna just let you stay here till we figure out what we gonna do. And I'm like, okay. So then me and her talk, and I was supposed to go to this transitional housing with this other lady. And you know, I'm hysterical, I'm crying, and I'm just letting her know, like, listen, I feel comfortable here. I'm safe here. I feel comfortable here. I feel peace here. I feel a sense of, we went to go see the transitional house, me and her together. It was other women there. It was a nice transitional house. I wasn't being ungrateful or anything. I was grateful. And it was a transitional house. And it was nice. It was beautiful. I had my own room. I just had to share, you know, like the kitchen, the bathroom, and all of that stuff. And if I decided to go there. So I had let her know, like, listen, I was praying to God. Like, one thing about me, I'm never going to do anything without God's permission. If God didn't tell me to leave, or if God didn't tell me to move, I'm not moving. Like, I need to make sure that he told me that I need to be in this transitional house. And if he didn't, and then she made me leave, if she would have made me leave, I would have just had to figure it out. God would have made a way for me to figure it out. But I'm never going to do anything without God's permission. Like, I'm always going to make sure that I confront my Father first before I move or do anything without his permission. So I'm crying. I go there. The lady not even there when I go to see the place. So that was the one thing that stood out to me, because we was supposed to meet, and she supposed to see how I was, my character, and all of that, to see if she wanted me to stay and if I was a good fit for the room. So I'm just like, okay, you know, I'm just like, okay, what I say? I'm like, okay, I go there. It's nice. She's not there. So I'm sitting on it a couple days. So she like, what you think about the room? I was like, it's nice, you know, I love it. It's pretty, it's nice, you know, I like the space and all of that stuff. And she was like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, basically we had to do Bible study on certain days, and we had to be in the house at a certain time. I didn't have an issue with that, with being in the house at a certain time, because I was already not going outside. I was just, you know, probably going to be at work. And I know that my shift was starting from 3 to 11. So I would be there at the, you know, the time that I had to be there. But she understood it because I would be working. So I said, well, I'm just going to think on it, and I'm going to pray. I don't want to do anything without God's permission. I'm going to pray about it first, and then I'll get back to you. So I talked to, you know, the lady at the house I was living in. And she basically started to become like, she told me that she was a spiritual mom to me. So she basically started to become that, like a spiritual mom from church. And in the midst of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I had to make up a decision if I wanted to stay there, because the house that I was in was basically being sold. It was basically, I was only able to stay there until it got sold, like till the house got sold. So I'm staying in a house that's about to be sold. it is not, it's only temporary. So I'm just like, Lord, praying to God, like, listen, God, I'm tired of I'm tired of being from this place to this house to this house to this house to this house to this house. I know that you're doing something in the midst of me constantly moving and moving and moving and moving. I just want to be obedient to you, but Lord, I just really just want to be able to just sit still so I can think, and so that I can just heal and just really embrace what you're doing in the midst of my journey with you right now. Like, just please just let me be still for a second. Like, that's all I was praying. Like, God, just please, if you want me to be in this lady's house, in this transitional house, Lord, I'll go. But if it's not, Lord, I don't know why my spirit feels so heavy with me making a decision to go there. So when I started to feel heavy, I'm like, that's not God. God wouldn't make me have a heavy spirit about going somewhere that he ordained or he told me to go to. I would feel peace. I would feel joy. I would feel happiness. I would feel comfort. And I didn't feel that afterward. I didn't feel like the decision that I was making for me to go to the transitional house was comforting for my spirit. Like, and I was just trying to pray that maybe that it wasn't my own feelings. I was praying to God, like, God, I pray that this is not my own feelings, that this is not me acting off of my own feelings, that this is just you telling me that this is not where I want you to go. I was praying like, Lord, that you telling me that this is not where I want you to go. That's why you feel that way. But I was trying to make sure that I wasn't being disobedient either. So then the lady basically, like, I shared with her, like, listen, I don't feel comfortable going there. I just don't feel like in my spirit, it's not sitting right with my spirit. I just don't feel comfortable. So she let me stay there. She let me stay at, my spiritual mom let me stay at her house until it sold. So I'm staying there. I'm not paying rent, just giving my food stamps as a contribution till I start working. So once I started working, then that's when I would pay what I can pay or whatever. But in the midst, she was just like, listen, I don't want you to pay nothing. I just want you to just get yourself together. So mind you, I'm sitting there and one of my exes, I wound up texting him. Or I felt like felt something in my spirit for me to text one of my exes, which was another girl. And I'm like, why did I just randomly get a feeling to call or text her out of nowhere? Like, it was weird to me. Like, I haven't talked to this person in years. And so I text, and it was just like, I want to see you. Can we meet up? So I had met up with them, and I had told them like everything that was going on with me. But in my mind, I was feeling like that I was operating outside of God's will again. But then I was unsure if he told me to reach out too. It was like I still was trying to decipher God's voice, like if he told me to reach out to her, or if it was just me acting off of my own disobedience, or just me acting off of my own feelings at the time. So we started to hang out and stuff. And I started to get scripture. I started to keep getting Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I started to get Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which says, hold on, give me 1 second. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So I started to get that scripture over and 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 over. I kept seeing it everywhere, over and over and over and over and over in my head. And I'm like, and then it was like scriptures telling me like not to go back. Like, and mind you, I feel like I'm still a baby in Christ. I'm still new on my journey. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I'm just like, all right, this is new to me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know nothing about, I'm learning scripture, I'm learning this, I'm learning that. This is all new. I felt like I didn't really know what I was doing or how I was doing it, and I wasn't confident in it. But one thing that the Lord kept bringing to me in the midst of everything that I was dealing with was, do not go back to what I just pulled you out of, because it's comfortable for you, because it feels good, because it's what you used to, because it's the familiar. And I kept running back to the things that I know that broke me in the past, that hurt me in the past, that continued to tear down my self-esteem, tear down my self-worth, and just me just feeling like just not confident in myself, and not feeling worthy in myself, and feeling love and joy in myself. I just constantly kept running to these things. So I just constantly kept running to these things, and I'm like, Lord, like, why do I feel like I'm still incomplete? And now I'm in therapy. Like, while I'm at my spiritual mom house, I'm in therapy. I'm going to therapy every week, healing myself, and I'm starting to get a sense of confidence. I'm reading my word. I'm going to church every Sunday, and I'm, I was going to church, and I was going to Bible study, and I started to feel confident. The Lord started to bring me out of there and heal me and prune me and take all of that mess out of me and just heal me, right? So I would have conversations with my ex, and she would say certain stuff, like just ignorant stuff, like sometimes why you ain't call me, and it would be a deeper than what just why you ain't call me. It would be a deeper like conversation. But I started to just realize, like, God started to show me, like, I love you. Like, I did not give you a spirit of fear. I did not give you a spirit of confusion or any of those things. And I brought you away from this. Do not go back to the familiar. And you need to set boundaries for what for the work that I've already done in you. And I started to, in the midst of me just hanging around my ex and all of that stuff, I'm not saying that she a bad person or none of that, but what I'm saying is that I didn't live in that place no more. But I wanted to feel something so bad that I just went back to what was comfortable. And sometimes when you want to feel something so bad, you just go to anything. You go to any drug, drug or any addiction anything that may be an addiction to you at that moment. You are going to go back to it. And I felt like, for some reason, I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all, I felt like this girl, even with me not being with her for years and not talking to her for years, it was some type of addiction that this girl had over me. It was something about her presence that she just would pop up, or on my social media, and we ain't talked for years, or this girl would just be in my mind, or just every single thing. I would be in a whole total new relationship, and this girl would just pop her mind. It would be like she just would be there in my mind. And that's when I realized, like, this has to be broken off of me. And I have to release myself from this person. Like, really, God, I have to ask God to release myself from this person. Like, really release myself from her. And this is somebody that I've been abused by, like, got my nose broken by, like, I'm talking about literally broken. Been in a domestic situation with, and it may not been an ongoing domestic situation. It probably happened once, but it still was a traumatic situation for me. And I couldn't fathom the thought of thinking, like, why would you go back to something that abused you, right? And the Lord kept bringing it to me, because you feel comfortable there. Because you have yet to realize who I called you to be. And I'm trying to show you, if you just take your hand off the wheel, if you continue to jump in the driver's seat, you're not giving me any room to drive. I don't need you to drive. I need you to sit in the passenger seat, and I need you to allow me to steer you in the right direction till we get to the destination. But you keep trying to jump in and controlling everything. It's only going to lead to more destruction. And when I started to think about that, and I started to share with my therapist, like, listen, I don't live here no more. I'm not the person that I used to be. It was just like I was so disgusted with the fact that I was even doing the things that I was doing out of just being feeling a comfort or feeling a void. I kept trying to fill voids because I just felt like the journey with me walking with God was so lonely that I just wanted to share it with somebody, that I just wanted something there or somebody there or a person, place, or thing there. And it was like, God, it's like, I'm here. Hello. Do you see me? I'm here. I don't need, like, you're overlooking me, the most important person that's trying to help you, and you keep putting these people, places, and things in front of you, and they're just making you feel more and more and more and more and more insecure and more unworthy and more because I am the only person that can make you feel worthy. I am the only person that can make you feel healed. I am the only person that can bring you joy, love, peace, and all those things that you're looking for. Not this person, not this thing, not that thing. I am the Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord Jesus Christ himself. So once I started to get that through my head, I finally just surrendered at that moment, and I cut all ties with her, and from there, a couple weeks after that, I get my spiritual mom like, I gotta sell. I'm selling a house. So now I'm crying now because I'm like, dang, I think I was only there for 2 months. I'm like, dang, I don't know where I'm going now. I gotta go somewhere else now. So then from there, she like, I'm helping her, I'm cleaning the house, doing every little thing that I can while I'm staying there to help her, because she allowed me to stay there, being grateful and showing her that I'm grateful for her allowing me to stay there, for free and all of that. So then, when she had showings, I would be there to show the house with the person. I would open the door or whatever she needed me to do. I would clean up when, it was already clean in there. It was already clean. Only thing that I had brought in there, to be honest, she brought me a desk so I could study my Bible and my word and worship and really be in my word. She brought me a desk, and I had a chair in there. I didn't have any furniture. The only thing that I had in my room was a blow-up bed. And I just was grateful. My best friend had bought me a blow-up bed, so I was grateful for that. And this lady I met another lady at the church, and I'm gonna share her name. Her name is Miss Nadine, and she had called me and was like, I got a call from, I got your message from the church that you wanted to set up for a Christian therapist at the church and this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, I was just letting her know, like, yes, I was trying to get into, this was before I had started therapy. So I was like, yeah, I was trying to find a Christian therapist. I wanted to, heal from this and this and that. And she instantly told me, like, there is a heaviness when you talk, and the Lord has something great for you. When you come to church on Sunday, she was like, ask for Miss Nadine. I'm gonna have something for you, right? So I'm like, okay. I'm just sharing my testimony to her on the phone, letting her know what type of services I need for what I was going through. So she basically was like, you know, so when you get to church, you'll see me. So I didn't see her that Sunday because I think something happened and I didn't go to church that Sunday. Then I was supposed to see her the next Sunday, but then she wasn't there. And then I seen her the next Sunday after that. She gave me this book bag, a drawstring book bag. In the midst of her giving me this book bag, I'm just hysterical. I'm crying. I'm grateful. She was like, I finally meet her. I hug her. She hugged me so tight. She was like, your testimony, the Lord just wanted me to bless you. The Lord just told me to bless you. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, the Lord told her to bless me. I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. Mind you, I'm praying. This is whatever she blessed me with was something that I probably was already praying for behind closed doors that I didn't tell God. I didn't tell nobody. And even though, you know, I started working. I had just started working, so I didn't really have anything. I didn't have anything. Like I had to start all over. I didn't have anything. So I was praying to the Lord for him to like provide me pads, and I was praying for the Lord to provide me soap and tissue, and I think it was like pads, soap, lotion, just like personal needs that, you know, so that I can have it, because, you know, he said I should ask, if I ask, I shall receive. So I asked the Lord for the things that I need, and he provided me those things through her. So when I opened the bag, I didn't open it in front of her. I just took it. And I was crying hysterically at the church. I was crying hysterically. I didn't even tell nobody that she gave it to me. I didn't even tell my spiritual mom that she gave me the bag. She gave me this bag, y'all. It had pads in there. It had Vaseline in there. It had deodorant in there. What else did it have?